Hey Scorpio, welcome to your May 2021 general reading. Sorry for the delay on getting this out. I was having some technical issues and needed to resolve them. So thank you for your patience. It's a general reading. Take what resonates, leave the rest behind. You may get a little, you may get a lot, you may get nothing at all, which means that you can either check your sun, moon, rising, and midheaven, or find another reader. You guys on YouTube are mean. Some of you at least. Anywho, let us just dive in. I'm going to start off with some tarot and then we'll pull a few oracle cards to get things going, okay? So let's see what we've got here. Okay, so we have the Six of Wands reversed, Justice card reversed, Queen of Wands in reverse. All right, so it seems like there's an adjustment of how perhaps you're moving. Maybe it starts off with a little bit of insecurity at first, circumstances feeling a little bit unfair, but only because there is some type of emotional response or emotional, I want to say, experience happening here. Figuring out where there still needs to be healing. And I feel like it has some place to do where you feel like you lack a certain amount of influence, Scorpio. We have the Three of Pentacles here at the bottom of the deck, and that is also reversed. A lot of reverse stuff, which to me usually symbolizes blocked energy, but it can be other things as well, right? It just kind of helps indicate to me a way that I need to interpret the cards here. So, just taking a look at this, I feel like you may have been a bit of a loner or have been acting a lot on your own, perhaps separating yourself from a situation where you feel like you lack the courage to proceed in some type of way, feeling that you might be seen as someone that's done something wrong. Or if we want to flip it, you may have been avoiding someone who you feel like has wronged you, right? And it could be that you've been withholding really building with something with someone. There's too much of a focus on the problem and not on all of the other elements that are correct, right? And so I feel like there is a need to adjust, a way to bring balance into the situation, but it's not yet clear how that's going to take place. I feel like courage to be honest and courage to be constructive, it's what's necessary here, because I feel like it's so much easier at times to just leave a situation or to just write something off as not being for you instead of recognizes all of the elements of it that are. And it's like, you know, we don't throw away a whole bag of grapes just because one isn't good, just because one is mushy or sour, right? It could just mean that that's exactly where the work needs to be done. But by utilizing all of the elements that are nourishing, that are healthy, and that are ripe for the picking, right? But again, I just feel like there's something maybe from the past that has created a bit of friction here. And so there's a little bit of, I feel like there's a little bit of pride in the situation here, Scorpio. And it could be that someone has maybe bruised your pride a little bit because they're just so naturally confident. And this could be vice versa. Again, I just remind you that it's fluid since this is a general reading. And it could be that this air of confidence seems really false to someone, whether it's you or to this other person, and it's creating a certain sense of insecurity. There's a need to kind of show who's boss in some way, to prove someone's merit or ability to handle and rectify something, or there's some type of situation where someone wants to offer their expertise thinking that they know what is right, when in fact that's not the entire picture. There are some things missing, right? There's some information that is missing. So let's see, I'm going to pull some oracle cards and we'll go a little bit deeper here. What have we got? It's funny too, I'm looking at this Justice card and it kind of looks like they're wearing like a sock instead of like an actual shoe, which is super funny to me. And so it's like, it's slippery, kind of knowing what's fair, what's just, what is correct in this situation. And based off of, you know, whether or not justice is actually stable or not, this individual determines whether or not those scales appear in balance, or if they appear to be out of balance, right? It all has to do with the person holding the scales. And so it's like, take a look at how you're holding the scales. Where are you positioning yourself? And is that why perhaps things feel unbalanced or not working properly in some way? So there's a need to maybe adjust one's view of oneself, right? I feel like the ego could be getting in the way. Maybe this person needs maybe a type of attitude adjustment, but either way, that's what I'm picking up here. All right, let's see what we've got. Oh, both of those wanted to come up. Cool. So we have risk, we have charity, and we have secrets. So I feel like, again, so with that secrets card coming up, I feel like there's information that hasn't come to light, information that either side could utilize in order to reconcile whatever is going on here. I feel like there are too many pieces of the puzzle that don't seem to fit together. Maybe this is someone who feels very scattered in their energy. Someone that, but it's not scattered. It's like everything has meaning. It could be a very creative person, and maybe you feel a sense of inferiority or upset, or you're like judging yourself against them, or maybe you're judging them because their methods are so different from yours, right? Because you don't see the same things. It's like you could both be looking at something and interpret it completely differently. And so it's just a huge gap in perspective here is what I want to say. And I feel like with this risk card and this charity card, you know, there's part of you that wants to protect what you have. There's part of you that wants to protect what you have and build more and then some. It's like you attract a lot of things to you, but it's like this one person is kind of confusing. And I feel like you're being charged with getting into a space of humility is what I want to say here. And I feel like whoever might have left the picture, because I feel like someone might have left the picture here in order to be able to grow or to build something separate from you. And I feel it's because of, they could sense whatever was going on here. They could sense it. There was a lot of isolated energy that it's like, I don't know if you put off the air of being standoffish, or if you've been isolating or avoiding this person in some way, but that's why they haven't reached out, or that's why they have left. That's why there is some amount of radio silence here. It's like there's someone that gets the picture. When something isn't quite right, they know how to maneuver and to operate without having to instead enter a space and feel like they can manipulate it in some way. And I feel like you're used to people approaching you thinking that they can gain something or do something, and then you see right through them. So I feel like in some way it's kind of weird to have someone move away from you in such a way, but not in a fearful way. It's just it seems very silent, very, very just in its own right. And it could be something that has happened previously. And so maybe it's not at the top of your mind, whatever this is. And so that also has you put in a sense to where you're just going to allow your pride to carry you through whatever the situation, and to just kind of ignore it, perhaps, right? Because you don't want to associate yourself or kind of, I don't want to say come back with your tail between your legs in any way, and nor do they, I feel like they expect that from you. Instead, I feel like more so it was a protective measure. Maybe there was something that it was just something that needed to happen for their own sake, and it wasn't even personal to you. For some of you, I must say. I feel like they also may have some Scorpio in their chart, so they know how you operate a bit, right? And so maybe that's where you two kind of have a bridge of recognizing one another, being able to see one another appropriately. But I definitely feel like there's some power struggle here, whether it's perceived or actual. In a way, I feel like it's almost kind of perceived and not actually what the case is here. And if that's something you're feeding into, then that's what it'll be, right? Because our brains like to create evidence for what we think. And so depending on what we think about a situation, we're going to find the evidence in order to make it true. And so this might be the case for you, Scorpio, where maybe you have to just spend a little time experimenting and seeing what other evidence you can come up with for a different conclusion. So the last three cards that I pulled, we have the Hierophant, the Nine of Wands, and the Ten of Pentacles. So yeah, figuring out how to switch the belief and have faith in something else, perhaps. Um, um, it's like breaking away from tradition and maybe allowing yourself to not carry on in such a way to bring your wounds or traumas into a situation is what I'm feeling here. It's very necessary for you to recognize that. When you're doing that. And it could be that maybe you've gone through some trials and tribulations with this person even, and you put a lot of belief and faith into them, or maybe they believed and had a lot of faith in you, but for some reason things just did not come into fruition. Maybe you've actually disappointed this person in some way, and they're not willing to tell you, mainly because they know that perhaps you have an air about yourself to where you would not be willing to hear their experience out. And so what's being called here, if you want to reconcile this, and this is someone specific that you have in mind, create a space of open-mindedness. Open your heart out to them a little bit. Create an invitation to open up conversation. Because here with this Ten of Pentacles, this is someone who is very dedicated, very balanced, very knowledgeable too. I feel like there's a lot of knowledge, and within them they hold a lot of resources. Because remember, I was saying this person's very creative. And is able to see things from an unusual perspective. And I feel like that's something you like, but there's a certain element of needing to protect yourself from anything that seems unusual or unknown, something that you can't comprehend. And I feel like it's time for you to open a space maybe for you to understand and to comprehend something that maybe you didn't previously know, that opens you up to a whole well of other experiences. We have the Emperor card here at the bottom of the deck. So yeah, I feel like there's a need to control things. You'd like to kind of know what's going on, and I feel like someone kind of left you in a space where you just don't know, and it could be driving you a little crazy, and therefore I feel like that isolation or that separation happening. But it's not fair to the potential of whatever this connection or opportunity is, so it's time for you to figure out a way to mend this, a way, or at least a way to get some type of closure and information, because it'll actually help you in the next leg of your journey through that next chapter, because I feel like this isn't the last time you're going to encounter this type of energy, whether it's through this person or through others. So be mindful of that. Recognize those signs as you move through May. So that is what I have for you, Scorpio. Thank you so much for your time. Bye for now.